Food for Thought with Professor David Ndete.
Welcome to another episode of Food for Thought with Professor Ndete. Today we kick off a brand new series and we are going to be talking about antisocial personality disorder. You know, we always hear of people being antisocial, and sometimes some people have said, me, I'm so antisocial. But did you know there's something called antisocial personality disorder? We want to dive into it, get to know what it is, how it manifests, and how you can do something about it. Professor, how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
The other day I'd gone home and my dad was asking me where I found you because he's always watching this segment.
Oh, all right.
He says the information is very relevant.
And what did you tell him?
I told him, well, I have my sources.
Okay.
Antisocial personality disorder. What is this?
It is exactly what the word says. And social is anything that is socially acceptable. Things that we consider from the cultural norm to be the normal way of doing things. But if somebody persistently does things that go against the social norms of that society, and it can take very many forms. The social norms of that society, in a persistent way, in a way that it causes problems to other people, then basically that's what antisocial personality is. It is pervasive. This is the way this person behaves. That is his personality. People come to recognize him that way, just like you can have, we have talked about different types of personalities. We come to recognize people, personalities, because we have observed them consistently. So when it comes and social, it's just basically what it says. Sometimes it's called psychopath. Psychopath is like you are talking about a disease of the mind. Psycho, simply mind, path, disease. So a disease of the mind that leads to certain types of behavior which happen to be antisocial. So when you take that definition, then the characteristics and the symptoms are almost endless because there are so many ways in which society do things and they consider that as a normal way of doing things. But if it falls outside that, and of course it vary from society to society, from culture to culture, and that partly explains why the prevalence of sociopathy and personality disorder, social psychopaths may vary from culture to culture, context to context.
Because I was going to ask that because different cultures have got different things they consider normal. And like for us here in the African context, we are very social beings. We are very social, we visit each other. But apparently in the West, it's not like that. People need appointments to visit you,
And you need to be invited to a funeral.
So in that context, I would consider that is such antisocial behavior.
So this is why I'm saying it is context appropriate. It will vary from culture to culture. What is normal in the West is not really normal here, even in this country. What is normal in a certain part of Kenya may not be normal in a different part of the country. And we need to respect that. Just because I come from a different part of the country and we do things in a slightly different way compared to if you coming from a different part of the country, we should not go on and judge them. It is only abnormal if it is inappropriate in the context where it is taking place.
How common is this
very
disorder?
Common. Statistics vary greatly. The statistics that I have seen from the West, mainly from America and Europe, they say about 1 to 2% of people there have this problem, and it is more in males than in women. I have seen statistics, I think, from Asia, where they are talking about 4 to 5%, sometimes much higher. I think that may be related to what that society considered normal or abnormal. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, does this happen in different stages where you can have extreme
Yes.
and mild?
It's like in any condition, any medical condition, there are extremes. There are extremes in terms of the severity of the symptoms, in terms of the chronicity of symptoms, on the basis of that, then you can decide whether this is a severe form of personality, a psychopath or antisocial personality, even in the same context. Because some people will tell you, this man or this woman, there's something not, you just can't put a finger on it, but you kind of feel that there's something not quite normal. And you need to know that person very closely for you to understand or appreciate there is something not quite normal. Whereas in other cases, it's so obvious to everybody in the village, you know, this person is a problem to very many people. Yeah, again, depending on what it is that the person with this personality does.
Okay.
Yeah, and just to re-emphasize that there's a lot of controversy in terms of the prevalence and different criteria. I happen, by the way, it's just a fact, I'm just telling you. I happen to be a member of a group set up by World Health Organization, headed by somebody called Peter Tyler in London. And we and a group of other people, we've been looking into classification and different types of personality disorders. And this one, psychopath, has very many problems because there is so much diversity. And that is a fact. We know we have a problem. There is relatively little agreement. And this, in my view, are the explanations. Yes.
Is there something that causes it? Is it genetic?
We really don't know, but put it this way, that like another condition, and in our past discussions, I have been at pains to emphasize this, that even in physical conditions, there's a tendency for some genetic predisposition. We've talked about diabetes, we have talked about hypertension, we have even talked about different types of cancer. There are very many problems with thyroid, all kinds of problems, even in physical conditions. There's a genetic predisposition. You see, even in terms of personality, genetic predisposition, in terms of intelligence, I keep on telling people, don't go boasting how intelligent you are, because you did nothing to get it. You did absolutely nothing.
Yes.
Yeah, because 80 to about 75 to 80% of your intelligence is inherited, and you did nothing to inherit it. Yeah, you may have been in the right environment, which about 20%. In the right environment, did and you able. The environment enabled you, but it's only contributing to 20%. And even that environment, what did you have? One of the students one time I was looking after was somebody was the best student in the country in standard 8 examination. Do you know where he came from? Libera.
Wow.
Yeah. In spite of that environment. He did extremely well. Yeah.
I'm just wondering, could trauma, early childhood trauma, be considered as one of the factors that would cause somebody to be like this?
Well, trauma is a very common problem, starting all the way before at the time of conception. I think we may have education talk about this. Trauma in the mother can find expression in the child, because when somebody is traumatized,
Yeah.
there are certain levels of stress indicators which pass through the placenta and they go to the child. So you can get a child who comes out born with things that can only be understood in the context of the trauma that person went.
Yeah.
So this is why I would say violence during pregnancy is a terrible thing to happen. Violence during children, I mean during in infancy, or any form of violence. So yes, there's always that possibility. You see, what is happening in mental health these days, and looking at what is happening, it is amazing how science is teaching us things that we never imagined that could be the case. For example,
That's all the time we have for Food for Thought with Professor Ndete. Thank you so much for being a part of it. I hope the conversations we're having are beneficial to you. We'll pick up this conversation again next week because we are not yet done with this matter. As always, give us your feedback on 20316 for SMS and WhatsApp 0786 316 316. Until next week, have yourselves a great day.
Food for Thought with Professor David Bittet.